अहो दुःखं महादुःखं दुःखान्तरं यथा राजातं विस्मृतं रत्नम् अर्हेणामेव केवलम् नियतां कर्म नियतां वच नियतां नित्यम् हरे नामेव केवलम् विनीकृत्य जगत्सु राजते सकलोपरि चिदानन्दमयं शुद्धं हरे नामेव केवलम् मङ्गलेभ्यो गणम् आवरुणो हरे नामेव केवलम् हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 This is beautiful glorification of the holy name. Om Gyan Timarandhase Gyan Jana Shalakaya Tashamanitamena Tasme Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishram Nitrakritamena Tale Jayam Rupa Balamaya Bajanti Jaya Bajantikam Vandeham Shri Vishita Badalamlam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shirupam Sarajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Darivam Savadetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Shakamatam Cha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashanti Chatarine Namo Ma Vadanyaya Krishna Prema Vadaya Krishnaya Krishna Chanya Namne Yore Tase Nama He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanam Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Pire Vancha Kalpatarvyacha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasari Gauravatanda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I think not. Yanamade Shabanana Kirtana Yat Ravanadya Smaranadapi Kvachin Sadhoapi Sadhoapi Satya Savanaya Kalpate Kuta Punaste Bhagavan Darshana. All Prabhuji will say together. One more shloka. Let's see. Aho bataso pachato gariya yadjivagre vartate namatopyam te pustapaste juhu shashnuarya brahmanuchunam ginanti yete. All Matatis. The first said, Yanam Deha Shavananu Kirtanad. The one who's chanting the name of whose and Shavanad and Kirtanad, Ya Pravanad, by offering obeisance, Yes Maranad, Api Kuchit. Sadhu Api Sadhya Sabanaya Kalpate. Sadhu means a dog eater, immediately becomes qualified for Savanaya Kalpate. To say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of dog eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or chants about him hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. So, transition purpose, words by English, Prabhat ki Jai. Herein, the spiritual potency of chanting, hearing, or remembering the holy name of the Lord is greatly stressed. Rupa Goswami discussed the sequence of sinful activity of the conditioned soul and established in Bhakti Sindhu that those who engage in devotional service become freed from the reactions of all sinful activities. This also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The Lord says that He takes charge of one who surrenders unto Him and He makes him immune to all reaction to sinful activities. If by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Person Godhead one becomes so swiftly cleared of all reactions to sinful activities, then what is to be said of those persons who see Him face to face? Another concession here is that persons who are purified by the process of chanting and hearing became immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. Generally, only a person who is born in a family of Brahmanas who has been reformed by the 10 kinds of purificative processes and who is learned in Vedic literature is allowed to perform the Vedic sacrifices. But here the word Sadhya immediately is used, and Sridhar Swami also remarked that one can immediately become eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. A person born in a family of the low caste, which is accustomed to eat dog, is so positioned due to his past sinful activities. But by chanting or hearing once in pureness or in offenseless manner, he is immediately relieved of sinful reaction. Not only is he relieved of sinful reaction, but immediately achieves the result of all purificative processes. Taking birth in the family of a Brahmana is certainly due to pious activities in one's past life. But still, a child who is born in a family of a Brahmana depends for his further reformation upon initiation into assertion of the sacred thread and many other formative processes. But a person who chants the holy name of the Lord, even if born in a family of Chandalas, dog eater, doesn't need reformation. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna immediately becomes purified and becomes as good as the most learned Brahmana. So it's a beautiful sequence of verses of conversation between Devhuti and Lord Kapila. So we are coming to the end of the third canto. So how we saw the teachings of Lord Kapila. So Lord Kapila also gave teachings, the journey of soul, what happens to the Jivatma after death. A sinful Jiva who is engaged in maintaining his family to the last breath. When he dies, and because of doing a lot of collecting a lot of sin or maintaining his family, he is taken by the Yamdutas. And Yamdutas take him 99,000 miles, that much 1 lakh kilometers, 1 lakh miles, that much distance take him to Yampuri. And there he meet the Yamraj. And on between so much of threat, the same animals he has traveled throughout the life, those animals come, taking his flesh. And after going there, he is fearing and is put in the Kumbi Park hell, and where is uh, boiled alive in the cooking oil there, and the Anta Mishra there. So it describes, if you read this whole description in chapter, I think last Sunday class was upon prayers of the Jiva in the womb. And this is about how the journey to hell. And practically every Jiva goes through it. As a devotee, every Jiva goes through this journey because you happen to commit sin in this world. That's how the world is. And the journey is being described so much into there in Garud Puran and in many, many Puranas that how, and that's why the 1 year of, the Shraddha is being done. So what happens first a person goes, and as soon as he died, immediately he goes to Yamaraj or Chitragupt. And there he is told what sin you have done and what all bodies you will take. Then he comes back. Then that person comes back. And after coming back, then he now he knows where is he going to go. And he has 13 days time. To in 13 days, what happens? His Preta Sharir is made for the next journey. The Atma is gone and the Preta Sharir is made. And a thinks, person feels that I have not died only, actually. So that's why the body is cremated and no shamshan done. Then a person understands, oh, now the body is gone. Now I've died. Then he realizes. In that time, there are a lot of rules and regulations one should not do because the Atma is over there only near the body. Till the time the body is burned, the Atma is near the body itself. And then as the third day happens, the 13 days happen, day by day his Pinda Sharir gets ready. And then he's ready to move for the journey for 1 year. In one year, because the time passes very slow down, hellish planet. So it's a few. So, for from a point of view, the one year has passed, but down a lot of less time goes there. So down journey he goes, and in between a river comes, made of bus, stool, and thing. And then a boat, and he's very much dying in that river with the within the rivers tormenting in that river there. And a boatman comes, and the boatman asks, "Do you have some punya?" And he says, "I have no punya." The boatman goes back there. And if somebody gives a veterinary cow in charity, then that person gets to ride on the boat and go ahead in the journey. And after going to Yamara, there are 28 types of major hells which are described. There are many, many hells. 28 types of major hells are there. And then based on the person's sin, that each hell is prescribed to him. So this is the journey of a soul who who has not taken up to spiritual life in some form or the other, and who has been simply attached, committing sinful activities to maintain his family. So while maintaining family and earning money, person may commit many sinful activities, and those sins person has to suffer at the time of death. And that's how he talked, and then talked about prayers of Jiva in the womb, and further talked about bhakti is the way to achieve liberation from the cycle of birth and death, and bhakti is the best process. So take up the process of bhakti. And now this chapter talks about the concluding teachings, and very amazingly, the person who chants the holy name of the Lord. Now here we see a person who has life, engaged his life in sinful activities and not caring for the Lord, has to undergo so much punishment. And here we talk of a person who is born in a dog eater's family. Dog eater's family means a low class family eating flesh and other things. So naturally, he will have a very sinful result. But the beauty of bhakti is as soon as they start chanting the holy names of the Lord, what happens? As soon as this person starts chanting the holy name of the Lord, what happens? He immediately gets purified and he can perform Vedic sacrifices like a Brahmin. Generally, to perform Vedic sacrifices like a Brahmana requires a lot of purity, requires a lot of training, requires, mantras, a lot of mantras to be chanted. But this person who is chanting the holy name of the Lord, he at once gets purified and become qualified to do the Vedic mantras. And practically, you can see many foreigner devotees. They were eating, cow flesh, doing everything. Now they have given up everything. They're wearing Brahman thread, doing puja. You go and see how that's possible. And they are doing with more dedication than even our traditional Brahmanas there. So how that is possible? The power of bhakti there. Or Sri Prabhupada, so it is, we see only in the scriptures, the Prabhupada showed it. So Prabhupada made that happen there. Now, the people give a logic. You see, somebody have got a sinful birth. Nothing happens by chance. Now, why this person has got a sinful birth? Because his past life was sinful. Therefore, this life he has got a sinful birth. So now, okay, he can chant to become purified, but next life he should become a Brahmana. This is next life he should become a Brahmana because he has done past bad activities, so the tendencies will remain with him. Now, because the tendencies will remain, it will take one lifetime for him to get purified. So therefore, now we understand he can chant the holiness of God, he can get purified, but next life he should become a Brahman. So this is the Arpurva Paksha of the Smarta Brahmanas. But Bhagavatam says no. Within this lifetime, person's prarabdha karma changes. This verse is also a proof That how within one lifetime prarabdha karma changes of a devotee. Now, what are the prarabdha karmas? What is a prarabdha karma? No, that is sanchita karma. The total is sanchita karma. But what is prarabdha karma? What is the quota due in this life is called prarabdha karma. What quota of happiness and distress meant for the current birth? It is called prarabdha karma. And when you go to a Jyotishi will tell this will happen in your life, this will good happen, this will bad happen. So the chart will read that prarabdha karma. What all going to happen in this lifetime, and it's called prarabdha karma. And this prarabdha karma decides how much wealth you will have, how many children you will have, how what kind of a spouse you will have, what kind of house you will have. So all quota of pleasure and pain decided by this prarabdha karma. And generally, even by other yoga processes, prarabdha karmas are not changed. But here is a proof of this verse where says by chanting the holiness of the Lord, even person who is born in a low born family. So naturally, people who are born in low family, nobody would respect them. Right? In a traditional way, nobody would respect them. But Sadhyo, he becomes pure like a Brahmana. That means he become a respectable person. His habits get changed. So that means his prarabdha karmas are changed or not? So that is a sign when you chants the holy name of the Lord, his prarabdha karmas have been changed. His habits have been changed. So that's the beauty of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Another thing Prabhupada says is somebody is a high court judge, then whether he has done 12th class or not. Will you ask him, have you done 12th class? A little offensive, no, to ask a high court judge कि आप high school pass हो नहीं हो. Right? It's a little offensive to ask. Same way, one who is chanting the holy names of the Lord, he has done all Vedic sacrifices, austerities, tapa, everything he has done. Why? Because he's chanting the holy names of the Lord. There. Okay. So that means somebody who is chanting the holy names of the Lord is a very special personality. There. The two very important concepts comes from the glory of bhakti, glory of chanting of the holy name, that how chanting the holy names of the Lord purifies a jiva completely, and it destroys even the prarabdha karmas. The sufferings due for this lifetime is also destroyed by bhakti. Second concept is talking about even chanting the holy names of the Lord. Somebody is chanting the holy name of the Lord, he has already surpassed the need of doing any other process. He's already become a high court judge. He doesn't have to go to 12th class again. He doesn't have to do yajna, dana, tapa. And of course, in bhakti we may do like Ekadashis or yajna for Lord Narsingha. But he doesn't have to do the reformity. There is already surpassed that. And that's what this verse is beautifully talking about. So some caste Brahmanas remark that by chanting Hare Krishna, purification begins. Of course, that depends on the user process of chanting, but his remark, Ashidhar Goswami, is completely applicable when chant the holy name of the Lord without offense. For he immediately becomes more than a Brahmana. So, how one should chant? Without offense. And he immediately becomes as respectable as most learned Brahmana and can be allowed to perform Vedic sacrifices. And then what to say? One who says the Supreme Lord, like Devotee is seeing there. And Prabhupada says, by Diksha, Vidhanena, because spiritual master sees. So, as the base metal like bell metal can be changed into gold by a chemical process, Any person can similarly be changed into a Brahmana by Diksha Vidhana, the initiation process. Right? So if somebody, when is accepted the Brahmana sacred thread ceremony under the Panchratika system, he is Duja, twice born. See, in Vedic time, the sacred thread was given only to Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, not to any other caste there. And the work of giving Diksha is only done by the Brahmanas there. But Bhaktisan Sri Thakur start giving the sacred thread to anyone who was qualified, not just based on birth, but based on their qualities. Guna Karma Vibhavisha. There. So this was instituted by Bhaktivedanta Sri Thakur, who started the also the Brahmachari ashram and also started this giving second initiation. And in his time, it was all together. Harinam Diksha and second initiation. That was the main initiation. But Srila Prabhupada considered into two. First initiation and second initiation. And then it talks about how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even born in the family of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. And they must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at holy place of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. So they've already done in all previous lives. And that's how they've come to chant the holy names of the Lord. So devotee who is chanting the holy names of the Lord is very, very special. Is a very, very pious soul. The very fact that he is chanting the holy names of the Lord. The person who has offenselessly chanted the holy name of God becomes immediately eligible to perform the Vedic sacrifices. And one should not disbelieve. How by chanting the holy name can one become compared to the most elevated Brahmana? No, it is not very astounding that if no one in this life can chant the holy name of the Lord unless he has passed all the lower stages, such as perform the Vedic ritual sacrifices, reading the Vedas, practicing good behavior like that of the Aryans. Just as in law class, is to understand somebody who is student in law class understood to have already graduated from general education. So anybody who is chanting have already passed all lower stages. And one who simply chant the holy name at the tip of tongue are glorious. One doesn't even have to chant the holy name, and that is a whole process. If the holy name is sounded on the tip of the tongue, that is also sufficient. Hare Krishna. There. Even single name is sufficient. See, one chants only once, is to be understood, is already passed all examination. Not to speak of those who are chanting always 24 hours a day. There. And how the holy name should be chanted, Prabhupada is saying here? The holy name has to be chanted to please the Supreme Lord and not for any sense gratification or professional purpose. If this pure mentality is there, then even though a person is born of a low family, such as a dog eater, he is so glorious that only has he purified himself, but is quite competent to deliver others. So, what should be the mentality of a devotee to get the benefits? What is mentioned? He should chant to please the Supreme Lord. So, while chanting, sometimes you may feel like chant, sometimes you may not feel like chant. But still, we should chant to please the Supreme Lord. There. So that hetu is very important there. Then why are you chanting? See, so many people will be chanting outside also. Like some Brahmana will do mantra to okay. If we do 1 lakh name, this will happen. If we do 1 lakh mantra, this all will happen. They do japa, but that's not the way japa should be done. What is being mentioned? Because he chant the holy name to please the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he becomes there. So to chant offenselessly means to chant the holy name for the pleasure of the Lord. Now a question may come, how by chanting gives pleasure to the Lord? How by chanting gives pleasure to the Lord? Any answer? See, we are chanting for the pleasure of the Lord. So how you feel that our chanting is giving pleasure to the Lord? Huh? While chanting. Very nice point there. So that remembrance pleases him. When you are chanting and remembering him, that remembrance pleases him. So because we are all children of Krishna and we are remembering him, that remembrance itself pleases him. Ma manusmara vidyaja. So here you're directly remembering and chanting the holy names of the Lord. Yes. How chanting is pleasing? Chanting is done for the pleasure of the Lord. Like the child is away from mother. Whatever child will come closer to the mother, they will speak. Yeah. Hari Hari Bol. So one person asked, if everybody chant Hare Krishna, will not Krishna become bored? So I said, see, mother has 10 children. But will mother become bored by feeding the last child? No. She feels happy because the child is getting nourished. The same way, when we chant the holy name of the Lord, Krishna feels happy that we are getting nourished. He knows we will only get nourished when we call his names. We'll only be happy with him. So he becomes happy when we are chanting his holy name. And more you chant in front of the deities, you do kirtan in front of the deities for the praise of the deities. More you can even feel how chanting is an offering to the Lord. And then chanting becomes easy. When we get that feeling that how a chanting is for the pleasure of the Lord, the chanting the holiness becomes much easier there. Like Rupa Goswami is saying, when I chant the holy name of the Lord, I desire millions of tongues. Because he's experienced that happiness of Krishna. The Krishna is feeling happy. He's feeling that relationship. So chanting is done in sambandha. And that is why we need association of pure devotees to understand this transcendental technique about chanting. And Prabhupada gave example of Haridas Thakur. He was born in a Mohammedan family, but he was purifying even others. And then Prabhupada talk about the Brahmanas, called as Smarta Brahmanas, say that yes, even such person are chanting the holy name are accepted as purified, still they have to perform the Vedic rite or await the next birth in a family of Brahmanas so they can perform the Vedic rituals. But actually, that's not the case. You know, it happened also. Once Sri Sampradaya Pujari was there. He was arguing with me. कि देखो भैंस भैंस होती है गाय गाय होती है तो जो ब्राह्मण कुल में पैदा हुआ है ब्राह्मण का शरीर है कोई वैश्य ब्राह्मण कैसे बन सकता है बेसिकली रेफरिंग टू मी he should not be brahmachari and something you also become the then I showed him a verse of from Bhagavatam where Rishabh Dev he had 100 sons. Now Rishabh Dev is a supreme lord but he is a Kshatriya. So his son all should be Kshatriya. But his 9 sons became Paramhamsas, 81 sons became Brahmanas, and 10 became Kshatriyas. Then I showed him. He said, अरे हाँ पहले तो बोला कि है नहीं ऐसा verse. And then I showed him, see, this is the Bhagavatam verse. Then he was telling, oh, okay, okay, वो तो पुराने जमाने की बात है. Then I thought, see, ये भैंस भैंस है, गाय गाय है, पर सारी गाय तो भैंस बन रही है आज की डेट में. मतलब सारे ब्राह्मण तो शूद्र से भी नीच काम कर रहे हैं. दारू पीना ये सब करना तो जब गाय भैंस बन सकती है भैंस से नीचे जा सकती है तो भैंस भी गाय बन सकती है इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन जन्म कर्मा जो देखो गुणा कर्मा so by training of a spiritual master see why it is said because the training doesn't start at 24-25 it starts from the womb by garbhadan sanskar so only person born in a good family will have a garbhadan sanskar. And because the Garbhadan sanskar is done, and for the other sanskaras is done, then only a person will have a good sanskar. In between, you cannot do. But the chanting the holy names of the Lord is, and then he should go to the ashram of Guru to properly get trained as a Brahmana. Then after all the sanskaras and training with the Guru in the Gurukul, then only one will have qualities of a Brahmana. Proper rights also in one word. So we'll see one word from Bhagavad Gita about this. Vedeshu yajneshu tapasya cheva. Vedeshu yajneshu tapasya cheva. Daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam. Atyeti tassarvamidam viditva. Yogi paramasthanam api vichatyam. So Vedeshu Yajneshu. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not brave for the result derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and spiritual activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this. In the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. The proper rites, first one should become a brahmachari, live in the ashram of a guru. Then, after passing on the ashram of guru, he should leave the ashram based on the scriptures. Then he should take the one prasad, then sannyas. Then a person go back home, back to Godhead. And then proper rites. But if somehow one becomes Krishna consciousness, then one can surpass all the rituals of different orders of life. And just by Krishna consciousness, one can go back home, back to and then proper rites. One who has a little glory of reading Bhagavad Gita, one who has a little faith in Bhagavad Gita should learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee. Right? So in the beginning of the fourth chapter, it's clearly stated that Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees. No one else can perfectly understand the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. One should therefore learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee of Krishna, not from mental. This is a sign of when one searches for a devotee and fortunately gets a devotee association, one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. And by understanding advancement of such a devotee, one is placed in devotional service. And this service dispels all misgiving about Krishna and Krishna's activities. After this misgivings have been perfectly cleared, one becomes fixed in one study of Bhagavad Gita. Then one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna consciousness. And then he becomes completely in love with Krishna. So just by reading Bhagavad Gita, what happens? From a devotee, all anarthas in the heart goes away. All abhadras in the heart goes away, one comes to the steady platform. So how to make progress in Krishna consciousness, study of Bhagavad Gita is so important. But the study should be done from a devotee. Then by reading Bhagavad Gita, one will become Krishna conscious. And one will surpass the need of all other rituals. Now, here we talk about it just by chanting the holy names of the Lord, one attains all perfection. And the example is given, when one becomes a high court judge, naturally he has done 12th class, he has done all the classes. So somebody who is chanting the holy name of the Lord, he has done all Vedic sacrifices. Like devotee shouldn't think, oh, we need to do some yajna in our home. No, you're chanting the holy name of the Lord, that's the greatest yajna. There. You don't have to do any other processes than chanting the holy names of the Lord because you're chanting the holy name of the Lord, that is the greatest yajna. It is the greatest yajna. Oh, now we have to study the Vedas. No, we have already done the study of the Vedas. And that's why we are chanting the holy names of the Lord. There. It's there. So now I have two topics there to explain. Okay, now we are talking a devotee becomes greater than a Brahmana here. But we don't feel we are developing all those qualities, right? We are feeling there's a spiritual advancement, but feel there is something missing. Now, it can be explained based on Bhagavad Gita ladder, that how the yoga ladder progresses, or it explained through Madhurya Kadamani, how the process of Anat Nivritti happens. So in Udupi Yatra, I'm thinking to focus on Madhurya Kadamani from Shraddha to Prema there. But now half an hour is there. In half an hour, either I can speak about the elevation of consciousness according to Bhagavad Gita, how it happens, or Anat Nivritti stage in Sadhana Bhakti. There. So I think Anat Nivritti stage in Sadhana Bhakti should I cover? How the offenses, it happens and thing. So see from Bhagavad Gita, how it progresses? The first 6 chapters progresses from a karma yoga to bhakti yoga. So first Bhagavad Gita talks about one should do karma yoga without desiring fruits and without thinking oneself to be the doer. And this very much applies to the services in Krishna consciousness. Why somebody may feel frustrated while doing services in Krishna consciousness? Because of doership mentality. When doership mentality doesn't get its shape, we feel frustration, whether it is material life or whether it is spiritual life. When we are not in consciousness, do your best and leave the rest on Krishna, we become frustrated. Because when we do our best, we are dependent upon so many factors. And when any factor goes wrong, we get frustrated. Why? Because you're not yet developing the consciousness even of a Nishkam Karma Yogi, what's to say of a Bhakti Yogi. There. So therefore, the anarthas are troubling our heart of fruitive mentality and doership mentality. And with the same mentality, when we take more and more services, those mentality, the beauty of services, it very fastly purifies those mentalities. And that's why we see our conditionings or tendencies come on the surface. And we can see, and therefore taking more services is a way for fast purification. But when you take services, purification will also happen. Everything will not go smooth there. See, material life, especially office life, things will go smooth because everything is paid. So payment के हिसाब से सब काम होता है. So things go much smoother. But purification doesn't happen. But in spiritual life, nobody is paid. So people will not everybody will do their duty on time. And because not everybody will do their duty on time then what comes? Frustration. And then we understand we are not a doer, let's depend on Krishna. And that's where the purification begins in spiritual life. And when we actually learn to do Nishkam Karmi Yoga without doership, and this you can apply anything, a housewife, a husband, a devotee, in your profession. So when you do your duty without fruitive mentality, then you attain jnana, that you are not his body, his fit soul. Till then, we may speak lectures on Gita, but the concept I am not his body, spirit, soul doesn't enter the head. Why? Person has not done Nishkam Karma Yoga. He has not done his service with proper attitude. So when we develop a proper service attitude, that we are just here to serve without expectation, that's the time one will get the Atma Gyan. One gets the Atma Gyan. And one becomes more and more serious in his spiritual life. And therefore, more taking responsibilities for Krishna service, giving charity, or because giving charity means you're giving the fruits of work. So you're becoming detached. So then you develop knowledge when you give the fruits of work, charity. When you do service to Krishna without expectation, so then you become serious. So there's two problems in life. You know what binds a conditioned soul? What binds us in this material world? That is there. No, the basis of all this desire and enjoying mentality. No, see to give up enjoying mentality also is not easy. But beneath the enjoying mentality, there are two mentalities: fruitive mentality and doership mentality. Fruitive mentality that I do some work to gain something for myself, and doership while doing thing, I think that I'm the doer. I'm the doer, I'm the controller, I'm the proprietor, I'm the enjoyer. So these two mentalities are base mentalities. And that has to first purify, and these two mentalities bind us. When these two mentalities go away, you feel liberated. And when one gives up these two mentalities, work without these two mentalities, one naturally attain Atma Gyan and controlling senses becomes very easy. Till then, controlling senses also will not be easy. And therefore, if you see the first 6 chapters, Krishna again talk about do Nishkam Karma Yoga, means service to Krishna there. So whenever we do as devotees say Nishkam Karmi Yoga, see, Vivekananda took Bhagavad Gita and put, okay, do altruistic activities. So he took out the wrong meaning of Nishkam Karma Yoga. And therefore, because we should not miss that meaning, Srila Prabhupada from very beginning said, Karma Yoga means devotional service in Krishna consciousness, so that we do not miss out the meaning. So whenever we say Karma Yoga for a devotee means engaging in Krishna's service. Engaging in Krishna's service. So that is the Nishkam Karma Yoga for a devotee. So devotee keep progressing doing his bhakti. Then when he comes to the level of jnana, he becomes peaceful. Then further, as he give up the proprietorship mentality and controllership mentality, then his focus comes in devotional service, dhyana yoga. That is dhyan, where he can sit and concentrate on japa. He can concentrate on the in the Bhagavatam, concentrate in whatever activity he does, because he has realized that I am not the doer. He's developed an absorption. And when his absorption becomes quite high on Krishna, yoginam api sarvesham mad gati nandaratma shaddavan bhajate mam same yuktamo mada. So he becomes the greatest yogi because his absorption in Krishna has increased. And now comes to Bhakti Yoga. So that's how a Karan Yogi comes to Bhakti Yoga. But somehow, by hearing about Krishna, you directly come to the state of Bhakti Yoga by concentration on Krishna. Then one surpasses all the state by association of a pure devotee. Now, therefore, Srila Prabhupada has given a direct process. Chant, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smarnam, Pad, Sevanam. So, more we hear about Krishna, more concentration about Krishna awakens, and our doership mentality purifies away. And so, therefore, so what happens initially, we will do services in a mood that I am the doer. Right? When we initially do services, we do I'm the doer. And little service also give a lot of tension to us. And that is purifying to us. That is purifying. Anything in life goes here and there. Hari bol, what has happened? Because that concept of doer has been very much strong in our mind. But as we keep doing seva, slowly we understand. And that's why you see devotees spend a lot of years in Krishna consciousness. Big thing happens, but they remain very calm. And we think, Hare Prabhuji, ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya, ye ho gaya. Because they see Krishna's will in everything and Krishna's plan in everything. So when things don't go the way they understand, Krishna has some plan. Like you see Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada thought, I will make David the first Vaishnava. I will take him to Vrindavan. He was a drug addict, but he was becoming a devotee. And Prabhupada was sharing a loss with him. And Prabhupada was writing to his God brothers, I'll make him the first Vaishnava. He'll become the first devotee. And I will take him to Vrindavan and train him. And one night, all dream got shattered. It was he had put some pieces of he has put beer, something water in the floor. Papa said, "Don't put water in the floor. You may slip." But he was on drugs at that time. Then he became angry upon Srila Prabhupada only, and Prabhupada moved out of the room. What to make him of a first Vaishnava? He had to move out of that room and nowhere to go. And that's when he caught Karl. And Carl came, Steve came, all these people together, Mike came, Mukunda Prabhu, all these people together came planning where Swamiji will go. And Prabhupada stayed at the house of Carl. But Carl had Carl was married, but he had a cat in his home there. And so he was not feeling comfortable. And then they took matchless gift restored for Srila Prabhupada. So despite so much reversal came, Prabhupada saw Krishna's hand. And what happened? That matchless gift restored became the first ISKCON center. So the matured souls in Krishna consciousness doesn't see problems in Krishna consciousness, see an opportunity to serve in those difficulties. And that's how Krishna reveals much and much bigger plan there. Because they see Krishna's hand in everything there. So whole our advancement in Krishna consciousness come to a degree we see the hand of Krishna in the life of in our life. then our spiritual advancement happens and we become peaceful and there. So this is how the Bhagavad Gita journey for about purification there. Now, how the purification happens, as stated by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambi. So in Pune, we have Nishta camp for youth boys who are chanting 4 to 12, 4 to 16 rounds, 8 to 16 rounds. So we explain all this concept of Anant Nivritti. And this is something one day workshop. That's why we will need a Udupi Yatra to do this workshop of Anant. So now we see what all the stages are there and how these stages go ahead and makes the devotee live in Krishna consciousness. And I have taken it before also, but little bit revision is always good. It's not something personally discussing, but my plan to discuss in Udupi Yatra with more details. So, Ado Shraddha, Ado Shraddha, Tatu Sadhu Sangraha, Tano Anartha Nivritti, ततो निष्ठा रुचि तथा आथा आसक्ति ततो भाव तथा प्रेम वंचति साध का नाम अयम प्रेरणा प्रादुर्भावे भवेत क्रम. So there are 9 stages. So let us revise. Who all know what are the 9 stages in bhakti? So our journey is like that. What is the first stage? Okay. What is the first stage? Shraddha. Second, third, bhajan, not sure. Bhajan kriya. Fourth, fifth, sixth, ruchi. Seventh, eighth, ninth, priya. But this journey, how it is, this journey is now initial cycle is good, right? In between is what? A hill. So first we start our journey. It looks very smooth. Everything is so nice. But then the mountain comes. When you meet the devotees, they will all chant Hare Krishna. When you chant Hare Krishna, then anarthas will come. Then Nishtha will come. So we have to cross this hill in the process of devotional service. So now, when we are this side, we can't see what is this side. And we need somebody who's standing over here at fifth or sixth to know what is there that side. We need somebody who's standing on fifth and sixth because they can see what is their other side. They can see the other side of the thing. So then we know what is there beyond this hill. So those who have gone this side, for them hill doesn't exist. Only somebody who is sitting here, they know the hill also. They know this side part and this side part. The person here also will know, but the people who are there, when you see they have struggles also, but they are confident in their struggles and they go ahead in life. And that's what the devotee association helps us in climbing the journey. If we are alone, we will give up in climbing the mountain. We will give up climbing the mountain because climbing the mountain is the greatest difficulty. So now how, as a stage of Anishita Bhajan Kriya, what are the symptoms happens? I will take this whole PPT there, but I'll focus on one particular thing, Anishita Bhajan Kriya. So what are the anarthas? The full. So there's aparadhas, Hriday Dharmalyam, Tat Vibrama, and Asat Krishna. Okay. So we talk about how to overcome anarthas. I am better than you. He's eating. Here it is getting angry. And here it is jealous. So above four categories of anarthas, aparadhas, Hriday Dharmalyam, Asat Krishna, this all leads to six anarthas: lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and envy. And this six enemy leads to six waves: distress, illusion, hunger, thirst, old age, and death. And offenseless Nam Sankirtan the way to remove all the anarthas. And power of such pure devotees, in heart of advanced devotees reside pure devotion, which is a blend of spiritual Radhani and Samrit potency. In the physical presence of Mahabharata, faithful neophytes, free from envy, absorb this devotion energy and feel ecstasy. Get taste for japa and seva. Hearing and chanting in the company of intermediate devotees may dissipate doubts and awaken the mood of service to Krishna. But concepts of eye and mind offset the neophyte's spiritual progress. So therefore, gratitude is must to take benefit of association. Why? If we are not grateful for devotee association, when because we will do aparadhas, then the reaction to aparadhas will come. Then we feel why this is happening to me. But we are grateful. Okay, Krishna is allowing me in devotee association. So if aparadhas will go, and what will remain? The benefit of devotee association. Therefore, to take benefit of devotee association, we should be grateful to that devotee association. Okay? Krishna so mercifully has put me. So how the purification happens? So Anishita Bhajan Kriya. At the state Bhajan Kriya is Anishita Bhajan Kriya. One is struggling with the anarthas. So effects of past sins dominate the heart. Our past conditionings will keep coming. Lust, anger, greed, envy. Then nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavad sevaya bhagavati uttam shoke bhakti bhavati nashtiki. So by this process of nityam bhagavad sevaya, by regular attendance in classes of Srimad Bhagavatam and rendering service to pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost destroyed. Then the abhadras goes away. So if you, the process of anarth nivrittis develop a taste for chanting, what you have to do? Bhagavad seva, like hearing the class. And Vaishnava seva, serving the Vaishnavas. By those two things, abhadras in our heart will go away. Yeah. This is actual process. Along with chanting, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and serving Vaishnava seva is most important. And then Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, steady devotion service. All the cleansing is not complete, it is sufficient to start steady practice. So, what a spiritual master and disciple should do? A spiritual master imparts Sambandha Gyan to the disciple and ensure that all aspirants have embraced this knowledge with proper faith. And disciple with a superficial understanding of transcendental knowledge cannot get rid themselves of unwanted habits. So, they need proper transcendental knowledge. And while that's why reading proper books is very, very important. Bhakti steps, right? Doing writing papers, reading books at different steps, because that helps gain systematic understanding of transcendental spiritual knowledge. And a person will face six stages or five symptoms of unsteady state. So, how to know whether we are at a steady state or an unsteady state? Laya, sleep during chanting and hearing Bhagavatam, distraction, talk during japa, then no concentration, then lust, anger, greed, and pride, unvaishnava traits, then taste for mental enjoyment, thoughts of sense gratification. So these are the signs with struggling in an unsteady state. Laya, Vikshepa, Pratipatti. And better we can use this for judging ourselves than judging others. Sometimes you may see a senior devotee sleeping. I say, "So he's also an Anishta Bhajan." We may not know. Somebody might not have proper rest in the night, and that's why he may be sleeping. So this is for the judging ourselves. And when you pass through Anishta Bhajan Kriya, 6 stages come. The first stage comes of Usahamai, false confidence. Person think now only we are going to spiritual world. He gets so ecstatic, it's called Usaha. नहीं, कर लेंगे दुनिया मुट्ठी में, सबको भक्त बना देंगे. So that is the Usahamai stage. You feel now I've just become a pure devotee only. I'm just going to spiritual world only now. So like that person start thinking. But then next moment when he goes alone out of devotee association, he stops chanting. And then he thinks, अरे हम घर गए पर जप ही नहीं हुआ. Ghana taral. Sometimes ghana, intense in bhakti, sometimes taral means no bhakti there. So then he loses hope. But then he decides, no, 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 whatever the case, I will become a steady devotee. Means keep practicing my bhakti despite that. Then viewed vikalpa comes. Oh, first I should do my material duties, then I will take bhakti seriously. No, no, no. We don't know when we will die. So let me take my spiritual practice seriously, then my material duties happen or not happen. So you're always in a confusion. What I should do? Material duties are bhakti. Bhakti or material duty. Sometimes he will leave material duty, sometimes he will leave bhakti. Viewed? He not have a fixed mind. Or some youth has not yet decided his ashram. So he's thinking, should I become brahmachari? Should I become grahastha? Sometimes mind says become brahmachari. Sometimes mind says become grahastha. So like that person will be keep thinking and keep worrying about there. And if Grasta ashram is there, he's concerned about पहले duty करें, पैसा कमाएं या पहले भक्ति करें. So he will not do in a balanced way. He's always in a viewed vikalpa. Sometimes like this, sometimes like this. There. But when he comes, okay, this is a steady state. Let me take bhakti seriously at the same time do my duties also. And he start doing serious bhakti. Then what will trouble him? Vishya Sangara. See, till the time you pass the stage of viewed vikalpa, Vishya Sangara will not do. Sense gratification is not a problem only. Anyway, we are in Maya. Only when you want to take bhakti seriously, then you understand I am doing sense gratification. I shouldn't do it. Devotees, I tell I am very nice, but secretly I'm watching TV. I shouldn't do that there. So one tries to overcome sense gratification, right? So he struggles, but he wants to give it up, but is not able to give it up, Vishya Sangara. But somehow he makes a determination and give up even Vishya Sangara. Then he want to increase devotional service. He will say, oh, with this Ekadashi I will chant 64 rounds, but he is unable to chant. For this Ekadashi I will chant 25 rounds. He is unable to do it. So whatever vows he take, I will not eat sweets. I will reduce the amount of sweets. Or there could be many things. I'm just giving brahmachari examples. Then, so many vows he will take. I will do this, I will do that, but he is not able to do. Is niyama shama. And then further person will come, or I will give up this bad, I will do this devotion, read proper book every day 1 hour, but is not able to do that. But after he cross all these 5 stages, comes he becomes because he has sense control, he has absorption, devotion, service. So all devotees start liking him. Prabhuji, Prabhuji, Prabhuji. So generally, few of us only come to this stage. Till then, we're struggling with the lower stages. But when the stage comes also, Tarang Rangani, everybody, you become now hero. And everybody is coming, giving gifts, giving respect. Then you think, oh, I'm a very great devotee. I'm an advanced devotee. And Punam Mishtika Bhava. Because you go to Usamaina again. Again, Punam Mishtika Bhava. Okay. So that's what the 6 stages on steady devotion service Person goes from one stage to another. There. And when person crosses this, then comes Nishtha. Then comes Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, where all anarthas are gone and person achieves the stage of Nishtha. So this is how the purification happens. The stages. And you will find going through these stages there. And then you pass through this as you come, a person becomes greater than a Brahmana. Till then, is yes, he is greater than a Brahmana, but you don't see that quality is manifesting. But when you cross these stages, you see all the qualities promised in the scriptures are manifesting within it. And this is Bhakti say, in Bhakti you have to do hard effort. Sadhana Bhakti. Therefore, it's a proper determined process to attain Krishna's lotus feet. It will work for some, it won't work for some. It's not like that. It's a science. If you do it properly, it will work. There. If you do it properly, it will work. It's a definite process. And therefore, Prabhupada said one should perform devotion service under the guidance of a spiritual master. One should perform devotion service under the guidance of a master. So that one makes a smooth journey where one is going. And then one knows, okay, this is the real way that a person is going in devotional service. So yes, no, yes, no. So acts that increase unsteadiness. And one should also avoid things which may increase unsteadiness. You know, this photo, what you see? एक हाथ में रिमोट, एक हाथ में Don't make japa a parallel activity. That is first thing which will increase your anarthas. Make japa a exclusive activity. Learn do bhakti exclusively. Because inattention in japa will lead to further unsteadiness. Because they will be aparat to the holy name. And second, what do you see here? Don't scold devotees. Don't become, don't become there. So offenses committed against the holy name, especially against the Vaishnavas. Chanting will be difficult. Lifting a mala will be difficult. Why? They are offenses to the devotees. This is Tanadapi Sanichena. Tarurapi Amanina Manina. Kirtaniya. Then Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavita, Jagdish Kamai, One Janmani, Janmani. So the whole process of Nishtha is what? Be respectful to devotees. Even devotees offend you, you don't offend them back. Tolerate it. So only when one can stay like that, he will have a potency to chant the holy names of the Lord. So our goal is not to have some achievement in service. Our goal is to achieve the real best achievement is this consciousness of respect to all Vaishnavas. There. Because of which purification happen, and with this consciousness we try to do the best in our service. With respect to all Vaishnavas, we try to do our best in the seva. So balancing both is very difficult. When you have to make something happen, you depend upon others. And to make others happen, it doesn't always happen by giving respect. But if you don't do that, then you hurt yourself. So as a period of time, we learn servant leadership. How to do our service in a mood of a seva, in a sevak. So when you develop the mood of a servant, then it becomes easy to respect all devotees. There. And that's the whole challenge. And we are adding Krishna consciousness as we go ahead. So remember these two things we should do. And what is solution to Vaishnava path? Fall at the feet of offended Vaishnava, sincerely begging for forgiveness. Even one is not forgiven, then one should render menial service to the offended Vaishnava. In case one is not able to know the specific cause, then take shelter of the holy name and chant as much as possible. And three types of inattentiveness, adasanya, indifference. Means chanting is going on, but you're not interested in it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. This is adasanya, apathy. Second is laziness. Either sleeping in the japa or after 1-2 rounds, थोड़ा माला रख के कुछ करते हैं, फिर करेंगे. It's too heavy. No. Then third is distraction, allowing the senses and mind to wander to chanting तो हो रहा है, पर lot of sense objects are thoughts of sense object coming, is vikshepa there. So all the three have their own solutions. So all of the special distraction, which is extremely difficult to overcome, result in a loss of interest in chanting and other devotional practices, and one's hankering for kanchan, kamini, and pratishtha increases. Desire for liberation, shanti, desire for yoga siddhis, desire for material enjoyment, diplomatic behavior, illicit connection with women, spiritual pride, classifying Vaishnavas according to birth. Make a show of devotion service, caste consciousness, puja la pratishtha, classical deviation. So how to stop chanting inattentively? Chant in association of advanced devotees or attachment to holy name. Study the behavior of senseless chanters, emulate their mood. Inquire from them how to overcome inattentiveness. Beg for the mercy of holy name. Follow prescribed rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. Remove desire for name and fame. And follow instructions of empowered Vaishnavas. And there are something newborn unwanted habits. Even new habits may grow. Right? Seniors rationalize their own, leaders have rationalized their own misdeeds, even as they trample on the feeling of other Vaishnava in the name of spiritual authority. Solution: boil the milk, read proper books, do Bhakti Shastri, more this way. There's a solution to cross the stage of unavailability. This is how I represent how the power of chanting of the holy names of the Lord. How, as a Vaishnavas, we can tap that power by rising from the stage of Anishtita Bhajan Kriya to Nishtita Bhajan Kriya, often chanting, or desire, chanting with a desire to please the Lord. Then we can cross over it and we can feel the promises given in the scriptures about the glory of the holy name. And after explaining all this, Lord Kapila goes to Kapila Ashram. And Devati remains alone at home, but she becomes disinterested in everything. And by practicing Bhakti Yoga, she also goes back home back to God. The husband has left him, son also left her now, but because she is enlightened, she perfected her life and went home back to God. That's the beauty of Bhakti. Yeah. Yes, any questions? Okay. At one point, so what do you mean by we understand that there is high but when you say if see Bhagavad Gita talk about the qualities Shama, Dama, Tapa, Shosha, Shanti, Rajya, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikya, Brahm Karma, Svabhaja. It doesn't talk about intelligence at all. It talks about those qualities. Shama, Dama. Shama means Dama means controlling of external senses. That externally control senses. Shama means internally also you control the senses. Tapa, do tapasya. Tapa, shaucham, be clean. Shantir, forgive. Don't keep grudges. Ajvam, live simply. Jnanam, have knowledge of the scriptures. Vijnanam, apply that knowledge in your life. Astakyam, be faithful to the Lord, worship the Lord. Brahm karma sabhavajam. So intelligence is not being Kshatriya. Kshatriyas are more intelligent than the Brahmanas. They have to make a strategy. They have to find us there. But Brahmana need these qualities to understand the scriptures, to understand difference between matter and spirit. So if you see real intelligence, is to understand difference between matter and spirit. So one who can know difference between the two is a Brahmana. But not really is required for all right? No, there are two intelligence. To understand difference between matter and spirit is a spiritual intelligence. And to understand scripture may require analysis intelligence there, which even a materialist person may also develop that, analyze. Sometimes people can very thoroughly talk about scriptures, but only very few people are able to apply scriptures. Some may give very nice presentation, but only few will able to apply that in their life. So the ability to explain to others presentation, that is analytical intelligence, which even a software engineer can have. But to apply that in life requires spiritual intelligence, which comes by the mercy of God. And when one applies, one gets realizations. When the truth is spoken with realization, has much more impact upon people than truth which is spoken just with an analysis. So that's where realized intelligence comes, realized knowledge comes by practice and mercy of Guru, which everybody can have it. But analytical nature, it's a material part of the intelligence. Some people may have, some people may not have. But what gives realization is application. That's a jnanam, vijnanam, astikya. So spiritual intelligence is a characteristic of the Brahmana. Huh. See, it's not that all prarabdha karmas will go. If all prarabdha karmas will go, we will die. So whatever is required for your devotional service, those prarabdha karmas will go there. So now, and Krishna will, according to your surrender, will keep taking the prarabdha karma. It's not zero and one. Yathamam. Hare Krishna. No, so you can do prasadam serving. After class, prasadam serving happens, right? So you can do that seva. That nobody will say no, isn't it? Kitchen mein you can wash the vessels above. Nobody will say no, isn't it? There. So many appointments. You ask devotee, they will give you a lot of Vaishnavas. Or if somebody will say, well, we can quickly go ahead. Yes, a lot of opportunity for Vaishnava seva. But very nice desire. Prabhu is coming. Sometimes we commit certain things that we do not realize that we are thinking of. What sort of really they do not say. Because sometimes we realize that we actually have spoken some hard words. Yeah. So Prabhu's question is, sometimes we are committing the offenses, but we don't realize we are committing the offenses. But other devotee also doesn't tell us. Then what to do? And most of us, after some time, we are like this only because we don't mind. But as we read scriptures, understand that why I'm not progressing because of the offensive mentality. So I should improve. If I want to improve in my spiritual life, the only way it can happen is dealing devotees with respect. Then you start praying to the Lord, give the intelligence to be respectful. Then, when you are actually looking for it, when you offend a devotee, you will feel in the heart. Krishna will help you. So, you have to first understand how it is so crucial for our spiritual advancement. Paying obeisances to devotees, dealing them with a respectful way is so important. We can't justify our behavior. It's a whole seminar is learn to deal with everybody with respect. Due for this life. Mhm. Yeah, as you progress, see, not everything you will realize now. As you progress ahead, then other stages will come. Like till that time you're in Vyud Vikalpa, Vishwasangara will not be a problem for you. Only when you cross Vyud Vikalpa, then you will have problem. Then you will understand Vishwasangara. Almost sequential. But at some point of time, you may be facing two or three more also. It's not that okay, one is over, then only next will come. But generally, first you, but it is a progression at where it goes. By inattentive chanting and offensive Vaishnavas. And taking proper guidance when you're facing this and that. So we no questions from other side. So we are they ended the class early because a lot of series of classes have happened this week, and many few classes are going to happen coming week. His Grace Gaurang Darshan Prabhu is coming. He is coming Tuesday night here and is there till Thursday afternoon. So you have kept Wednesday and Thursday morning class and is giving the topic prayers of Bhishma Dev. Learning from Bhishma Dev how to remember Krishna while in the life and at the end of life. Blue section. I guess it was English we have to start from second. Any road is for investor, they can report to me. The qualifications, the road is to be campaign of the complete. Our next consistent will be held on 8 February. It's an opportunity of Sadhana and for your for we contact your vendor of the last date for submitting the papers on 30th January. And we still have another 25 days. And also, we have already started online for work with that class of some campaign. Because very important so if you are interested in trying to sell that one for the class. And today's Prasad also very Prabhu of additional shift carbon family person. So let's share what I said before Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama.